the office of the Vice President. So if they want to investigate confidential funds, they don't single out one office.
Isang mapagpalang araw sa inyo mga kababayan. So dito po tayo ngayon ating alamin kung saan ayon ba kayo sa darating na 2028 halalan na tatakbong presidente ang Vice Presidente Sara Duterte. At ang masasabi niyang problema ngayon sa Senado at Pilipinas na flood control o project.
Una lang sinabi ko, ma'am, no, yung listahan na ginawa nila para sa Department of Education. Worthy yun na tingnan kung sino yung mga sinulat ni Martin Romualdez na mga congressman na makakatanggap sa School Building Program Fund. Pangalawa, flood control, yan, laging may corruption dyan. Farm to market roads, laging may corruption dyan. Yung pagsira ng highway, ma'am, bagong highway sirain, tapos sementohin natin ulit. Anong tawag dun sa ganun?
Road repairs.
Road repairs? Road reblocking, no? Ang tawag dyan? Oh, yan, ma'am. Nakikita ko yan lagi, ma'am. Sa highways, kahit sa Mindanao, non-stop. Every year. Ayusin, sirain. Yan.
At ito naman ang kanyang masasabi sa ating Pangulo ngayon na si BBM na hindi daw ito umano nagtatrabaho at walang plano sa bansang Pilipinas. Kayo na ang bahala sa kung ano man ang inyong opinyon sa sinabi ni si Sara Duterte ito.
Akala mo ba yung presidente natin nagtatrabaho? Hindi nagtatanong yan at all. Hindi. I swear to the flag, si BBM, hindi yan siya. Nagtatanong ng trabaho at all. Kaya napansin niyo ba, walang direksyon yung governance at walang direksyon yung iba't ibang departamento. Bakit? Kasi he doesn't he doesn't command. He doesn't command, he doesn't ask, he doesn't say that, look, there's a Philippine development plan and what are you supposed to do about this? Akala niyo ba yung ginawa ko sa DepEd, galing yun kay Bibi? Hindi, akin yun. Lahat. Kasi he did not give any orders at all. So pag upo ko doon, sabi ko sa mga kasamahan ko, sa mga USEC at ASEC, I think this is our show. Kasi walang participation at all ang Pangulo. So gagawin na lang natin kung ano yung dapat na gagawin para sa edukasyon dito sa ating bayan. So we created the matatag agenda, we followed through with the matatag curriculum, at unfortunately hindi kami natapos kasi yun nga, nag-decide ako na I don't deserve the attacks that were thrown at me by the administration. Kasi ako na nga lang siguro yung kaisa-isa dong nagde-deliver para sa cabinet ni BBM. Tapos ganun pa yung gagawin nila sa akin. O di, nung nawala ako, edi wala na. Wala na siyang accomplishment.
I am definitely not answering questions because it pertains to national security and the lives of the people involved in intelligence operations. You do not target one office and terrorize and torment the employees of that office. Why not call the office of the president who has billions and billions of confidential funds? They don't like me. They don't like my person. They don't like Inday Sara Duterte, but they have to respect the office of the Vice President. So if they want to investigate confidential funds, they don't single out one office.
But the opposition groups who filed the complaints against you are accusing you of being evasive in your answers and the alleged corruption and misuse of millions of confidential funds. Ma'am, baka you can offer an explanation also to taxpayers how kung above board po ba talaga yung paggamit nitong mga confidential funds para matapos na rin ma'am yung question once and for all.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not being evasive. If you are referring to the to the budget hearing and the hearings in the House of Representatives, I'm not being evasive. I am not answering the questions because they have no authority to ask confidential questions. I am answering questions about the use of the money in the Commission on Audit. And there is no, you ask the Commission on Audit if there was anything at all that they can say or see that we are not cooperative with the audit. So it is wrong to say that I am evasive. I am definitely not answering questions about the use of the fund, about confidential funds, because it pertains to national security and the lives of the people involved in intelligence operations. And yes, as I said, we have fully cooperated with the audit process of the Commission on Audit, who has the sole jurisdiction to ask questions about the use of confidential funds. In fact, 2/4 of the Department of Education are already cleared by the Commission on Audit, but it is still being questioned inside the committee in the House of Representatives. So that is the reason why I am not answering questions from the House of Representatives. Plus the fact that, as I said, it is an attack. It is a political attack. If you are in aid of legislation and you want to legislate about confidential funds, you do not target one office and terrorize and torment the employees of that office. What you do is you do a sampling, a random sampling of the offices who have confidential funds. Why not call the office of the president, who has billions and billions of confidential funds, if you want to legislate about confidential funds? So that shows that they're singling out the office of the vice president. And I really feel that it's very disrespectful to the office of the vice president. That is also why when they ask that I respect their process, respect begets respect. So if they want respect, they should first respect the office of the vice president. That is what I was saying, that they don't like me, they don't like my person, they don't like Inday Sara Duterte, but they have to respect the office of the vice president. So if they want to investigate confidential funds, they don't single out one office.
I understand, ma'am. VP, just a follow-up. As it yesterday or the other day, the House also alleges that over 400 names na nag-cite with acknowledgement receipts. Again, on the issue of the confidential funds, wala daw pong records at the PSA. Ma'am, you can offer an explanation because we know that this is a legal proceeding, pero pinag-uusapan po siya ngayon, ma'am, sa bahay ng bawat Pilipino. Kaya explanation if this is above board or bakit wala silang birth certificate, ma'am.
No, I will not explain. I will not give an explanation because it will entail that I explain intelligence operations which will compromise officers who do intelligence operations. It will really compromise how they work. So no explanation will be given to the members of the House of Representatives.
One final follow-up for me, ma'am. Then what's your response to accusations that an office like the DepEd and the OVP have no jurisdiction naman to have these confidential funds that are spent for national security?
Well, the confidential funds was the first transfer of confidential funds was from the office, from the contingent funds to the office of the vice president, and this was approved by the office of the president. The next year confidential funds was 2023, We submitted it to the Department of Budget and Management. It was approved by the Department of Budget and Management, and therefore it implies that it was approved by the Office of the President because it was included in the National Expenditure Program, the NEP. So, and then it was approved by Congress as well. The only reason why we did not use the confidential funds in the fourth quarter for both offices because I was already flagged by a friend inside the House of Representatives that they will attack you using confidential funds. So yes, it was duly approved by the Office of the President and both houses of Congress as well as because it was included in the General Appropriations Act. So it was not, we presented it, we defended it, they approved it. We used it, and then the question on utilization is under the Commission on Audit. That is how the system works. They cannot use or they cannot twist the system according to their personal interests. Really, all these circumstances and events happening surrounding the office of the Vice President is a race to the presidential election in 2028. Unfortunately, they are attacking the office as well. So, dyan ako medyo, and the personnel of the Office of the Vice President. So, dyan ako medyo pumapalag. Wala namang problema kung atakihin ninyo ako. Kasi politiko naman talaga ako. Pero may problema ako pag inatake yung opisina at yung mga kasamahan ko dito sa opisina ng pangalawang Pangulo na nagtatrabaho lang.
Next question for everyone. Al Jazeera.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Madam. Good afternoon, Madam Vice President. I'm just going to pick up on Mara's line of questioning. You said, and I understand your explanation about these confidential funds haven't been approved by several layers in the government. But maybe just to go back to the basics, if you can explain to ordinary Filipinos why the Office of the Vice President needs confidential intelligence funds.
Okay. Yes. For the Office of the Vice President, it's not the first time that the office was granted confidential funds. During the time of Vice President Binay, the office was already given confidential funds. The confidential funds we use in relation to our work and national security. All the projects and the programs of the Office of the Vice President target poverty alleviation. There is a direct correlation between poverty and national security. So what we do is we want to target the areas where we put our projects so that we achieve peace and order, security. So we don't want to our projects put in areas where it is not needed for poverty alleviation. So we want to prioritize the areas. And the only way to do that is to use confidential funds to purchase information. So where are the target areas? We need that so that our projects will serve these areas. So that's why we needed the confidential funds. In the Department of Education, there is a correlation as well of the education and national security. In fact, that is one there is a correlation as well of education and national security. There are so many threats to education, not just insurgency, and threats to Department of Education personnel and students as well. And we wanted to target projects of the Department of Education as well in the most vulnerable areas and schools. That is why we needed confidential funds. It's all about national security. And the position of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education is that national security is a holistic concept. It's not just one, territorial defense, sovereignty. No, national security is about food security. It's about quality of education. It's about poverty alleviation and everything else that we need to do as a country to get us out of this poverty rut.
But you are in the NTF-LCAP, so couldn't have your offices work with the NTF-LCAP as well as other government agencies that actually have national security mandates?
In the NDF-LCAP, they are only about ano yung ng LCAP? And local armed conflict.
And local community and conflict.
And local, there, LCAP. So that is very specific to that local conflict and communism. So as I said, the projects and the programs of OVP target poverty alleviation, and there's so many factors affecting poverty. And there are so many threats to education, not just insurgency.
But there are also other government agencies with national security mandates that you can work with, your offices can work with.
Yes, that is true, but we work far faster if we are allowed to purchase information and target our projects immediately on the certain school or certain barangay or certain municipality. We move faster if we can target our projects.
Okay. Going back to the confidential funds, that was also about confidential funds, but the names that are being verified by the Philippine Statistics Authority, I know you said that you can't explain because they're confidential in nature, but maybe just a yes or no, because other names have cropped up, aside from Mary Grace Piatos, we have Chippy McDonald, Fernando Tempora, Carlos Oishi, Raymunda Nova. These were mentioned in a column at the Philippine Star, and Joel Chua, Congressman Joel Chua was quoted. Are yes or no, are these code names?
Nakalimutan ko yung sagot ko. Sandali. I cannot explain confidential funds because it will entail explaining intelligence operations. And there is a law that prohibits officials who gathered information because of their office to divulge it in public. So it's the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. There is a specific provision of law. You cannot divulge confidential information that you received while in office.
So you won't even say these are
No, that because
code names?
that will add to cases that may be filed against me.
One last, sorry.
Yes.
Why the choice of a letter submitted to the NBI instead of an affidavit?
Wait, hold on. I can answer. I can give you a very short answer with regard to ARs. I had nothing to do with the preparation of ARs. It went down to the grassroots level. So I had nothing to do with preparations of ARs. I was up here in the structure and money went down for information.
So you have no knowledge why all these names were used in the acknowledgement receipts?
In the first place, we do not even know if these are ARs which came from DepEd or OVP to COA, because there's a chain of evidence supposedly. In law, there's a chain of evidence, handling of evidence. So right now, nobody can really answer that because nobody knows if these ARs are true. because we don't know if it came from us.
That's what they're saying.
They-
That's what they're alleging.
Yes, that's what they're
ARs came
saying.
from the OVP submitted to COA.
Yes, but there is a legal process in the custody of evidence. So right now, we really cannot say if the ARs came from us, because the ARs that are with us has not been checked with the ARs that are with them.
You're denying that the ARs came
No,
from
I'm just saying that we do not even know if the ARs with us are the ARs that are with them, because the ARs from the field going to the office, going to COA, that's not how you do legal work. It's not how you do legal work. There's a very stringent process in evidence. That is why even if there is no law prohibiting a person from divulging confidential information, person cannot answer that because we do not know if that paper that they're holding was the paper that came from the OVP and DepEd. Because there was no marking of exhibits. That was what I was telling Congressman Chua. You cannot ask the OVP personnel to say yes or no to an exhibit that was not marked as real and true, as correct, and as a faithful reproduction of the evidence of the office.
So would your offices then be willing to certify?
No, because there is no question about that from the Commission on Audit. It's only a congressman saying that this paper and asking what is this paper about. There is no case, and that is to ask that about the paper is the sole jurisdiction of the Commission on Audit.
Okay. So then if the Commission on Audit asks,
That is what I was saying. We have been fully cooperative with the Commission on Audit. Everything that they asked for, we submitted. That is why there was a partial disallowance only. And even then, we are not yet finished with the process because we can still submit documents that are required by the Commission on Audit. That is the problem right now. As I said, they are doing work that they are not that is not under the mandate of the House of Representatives. They cannot audit. They cannot question at all. They cannot make me answer and say that we represent the taxpayers and you have to answer. No, I will only answer to the Commission on Audit because that is the body who can ask us questions about the fund use.
Next question. Back to Nito, Amy Rivera.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, on the issue of your budget not being reinstated or restored, your reaction first on the decision of the bicameral conference committee?
Well, we do not expect anything about the budget of the Office of the Vice President anymore. As I said, before I was saying that I am not the problem. I've been saying that I am not the problem. The problem of the Philippines is kahirapan, kagutuman, corruption, and all the other peace and order issues. But it is clear right now that they consider me as the problem already. So I will not help them solve the problem.